The greatest American alive.
For Halloween, Project Daddy was a professional soccer player, a Houston Dynamo. Put me in the game, coach. I'm ready. I wasn't ready, you know what I'm saying? I smoked cigarettes. I would have been out there breathing hard and wheezing and things. But for Halloween, Project Daddy was a professional brand ambassador. Have you ever heard of brand ambassadoring? I hadn't until my ex-wife put me on. I think that woman saw the gig economy coming before it ever got here. 1 day work, 2 day work. But for this opportunity, Project Daddy had the opportunity to present the greatest American alive, you, the greatest American alive, with amazing gifts. Field seats, autographed soccer balls, and like gift cards. Man, it was like the dopest experience ever. And when the people handed Project Daddy the folder, they said, you can give it to anybody. They said, anybody? And I said, okay, let's do it. I have complete control over making people smile today, and I got so excited. And so I was trying to find the people who was like their first game or their only game. I wanted them to have the most bestest experience ever. I'm not in the best shape, right? And so the stadium is not like super high, but it's pretty tall. And I'm looking at the top, and I'm trying to find people sitting by themselves, and I see like a father and a son. So I'm going up there, and I'm like, hey guys, do you want to have better seats? And they're like, what do we have to do? So you don't have to do anything, man. It's just a fan appreciation day. You take these 2 certificates and you go down there and you can watch the game from the field. And to watch that little boy's face light up, he was dressed up in his like his soccer gear. You know, he wasn't Project Daddy, the Houston Dynamo player, but he was sharp though. He looked good. And to watch these people get so excited, to watch the greatest American alive, you, the greatest American alive, get excited when wonderful things happen, man, that makes Project Daddy so excited. And even though I had a positive experience working this gig, I can't ignore what the gig economy is. It's like the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Like you wish for the perfect job for 1 day, and then the next day you wake up and Cinderella is no longer at the ball. Back in the projects, Project Daddy. But I had a great souvenir. Project Daddy got to keep this wonderful, authentic Houston Dynamo jersey, and it fits so good it hugs my body. I say, man, the orange looks good, making Project Daddy look all juicy. Oh, I got a friend named Juicy. I'm going to introduce him to you later because he be talking a whole lot of mess to Project Daddy. And I don't like it, but Juicy, you know what I'm saying? He's cool. This Dynamo jersey had Project Daddy looking all juicy. If Lizzo can be out here saying that she's beautiful and embracing her body, then listen here, Project Daddy can do the exact same thing. Project Daddy can put on the Houston Dynamo jersey and say, look at Project Daddy looking all juicy. It's a beautiful thing. The working class American person is a beautiful thing when you do whatever you have to do to make sure that you got food on the table and you take care of your family.
The greatest American alive.
Even though you're doing the right thing, that does not entitle companies to do the wrong thing. Everyone says, pick a better job, brokey. Pick a better job, brokey. As if they don't look at the job market and see what exists. What led Project Daddy to this gig economy? I have to take you back to my first uniform before I was a professional soccer player, yes? I was in the United States Navy. My first uniform was that big sailor uniform, but you couldn't call me a sailor. I was an airman. Worked on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier. One of the most dangerous jobs on the planet. Flashback. And my first introduction to being called an airman was by this, she was an older person, but she was this fiery chief. And so I was summoned to her office and she said, Airman Daddy, close the door. And so I closed the door. I'm only 18 years old. I don't know what the heck is going on, right? I'm just scared. This is the most powerful person I've been alone with at that time. And so she says, Airman, I want you to fuck this pussy. And I looked at her and I didn't know what to do. I was scared shitless, man. I just stood there like all shocked. And so she asked me, Airman, are you gonna fuck this pussy? And I just stood there and I said, no, Chief. And she said, Airman, you're not gonna fuck this pussy? And I said, no, Chief. And she said, get the fuck out of my office. I walked out and I didn't know what to do, right? So I went to this other cat. He was a country white boy. And I said, hey, man, she just said, are you going to fuck this pussy? And he said, what did you say? And I said, no, Chief. And he said, you said the wrong thing. And then 2 days later, I had been sent TAD, temporary assigned duty, to the tile team. And the tile team, the whole job, an aircraft carrier is the biggest warship we have. And so it's like as long as 2 football fields to de-tile the entire ship. Our job as the tile team was to de-tile the entire ship, and Project Daddy did that for 18 months. And for my reward, they gave me a little accommodation, but my hands were shot, beat up. And so to this day, I have nerve damage in my neck from me rebuilding an aircraft carrier for the United States of America. And to salute me, they said, Project Daddy, thank you. You can go away and you can go fight for disability. Project Daddy's fighting for disability right now, but as I'm fighting for disability, that uniform led to this uniform being an authentic Houston Dynamo player and experiencing the gig economy firsthand for myself. And so can we have an honest conversation about the labor market in America? Can we please have an honest conversation about going to work every day?
The greatest American alive.
When you're out here living in this type of market, experiencing the gig economy is contrary to everything that I've been taught and everything I believe. My father, hey, Pop, so I salute my Pop. He's one of those great American men who actually built this nation, moved this nation forward. Without him, man, so much material would not move across this great nation. For him, men like him, they set the example on how to fight for labor in unions. He was one of those persons who actually negotiated his contracts to make sure he got a fair wage at the places in which he worked. Powerful men like this who stood up and fought for right, they inspired me and gave me the courage to even dare to dream of being free, to even dare to think that I can negotiate my actual physical body when it comes to what I am willing to do for money. I get to determine what I will exchange my labor for. And so when you have that type of power to negotiate, when I'm out here in this gig economy and there's no negotiation, it's one day and go away. That's the gig economy. One day and go away. And I got a wonderful souvenir from it. Hey, as a worker, you get a souvenir. Keep this authentic jersey. You're authentic American patriot. You, the greatest American alive, who puts your life on the line every day. You invest in this great country with your life. You invest in whatever company you work for with your life. And in return, what are you negotiating? That's a great question. As you are a player in this economy, because without you, this economy doesn't go. You are the star. You get your own jersey, and your jersey says the greatest American alive. You put that bad boy on and you wear it proudly, and you know that you can negotiate your power. You are the most powerful citizen the world has ever seen because you live in the most powerful nation the world has ever seen, but it's only powerful because of you. You make this whole thing go. When without you, there would be no economy, there would be no system, and that gives you great leverage. You can ask for anything that you want. If you watch any of Project Daddy's previous videos, you know that the banking sector asked for $12 trillion and got it. And so if the banking sector can get $12 trillion of tax money, what can you, the greatest American alive, get? How much money are you worth, and how much money are you willing to negotiate? And that's why I get mad at our media personalities, because these folks, they have attorneys and they have people that represent them. And when they have people to negotiate their contracts to make sure they get a fair wage for whatever the media organization is, whether it's ESPN or Fox or whatever the corporation is, they get a fair wage, and then they get on television and they act like all of a sudden their life doesn't exist. They act like, oh my goodness, I just woke up like this, and they don't. They spend hours getting makeup, but Project Daddy don't put on no makeup. I'm just beautifully authentic, just like this, my true self. The more we deceive ourselves, the further and further away we get from economic empowerment. And I don't want to talk about anything except for economic empowerment. Maybe when I put some money in my pocket, I can discuss my appearance. Until then, we have to get away from a cannibalistic state of mind. The working class people are devouring each other. We're out here eating each other like it's okay or something, like it's normal, competing for jobs and scraps, or allowing companies to prostitute us for one day and go away labor. That can't be all right. We have to divest from this economy. When you say, but Project Daddy, we have to make some money. Of course, I can't argue that. Right now, we have things like this, one of the most powerful tools the world has ever seen. We can communicate with anyone, and we sharing butts. I mean, I like a butt as much as the next person. Yes, everyone likes a big, juicy butt, but half these juicy butts ain't even their own juicy butts. It's artificial, and Project Daddy don't like artificial. I like authentic freedom. Please help Project Daddy fight for freedom. Yes, help Project Daddy fight for authentic freedom. Come and get your authentic freedom today. All you have to do is ask for it, take it, and embrace it. It's yours. Have a better conversation. We have to have the imagination and the courage to have a better conversation. When I tell you, when Project Daddy tells you that he worked on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier, I'm telling you that my introduction into the workforce was cheap labor. In 2003, I think I was making $840 a month. You're on the clock for 24 hours. Your duty never ends. And so if you have to stand duty for 24 hours, then guess what? There is no overtime. It's $840. The United States military is nothing but a jobs program. And at that, it's a low-paying jobs program. And there is no overtime. They pay you in citations. Here's an award for doing a good job, but you will not get any monetary gain. We have to have honest conversations about the labor force in America. Project Daddy has worked a number of different jobs. I know the ins and outs of what it takes to get food on your table, and how many men have to put their lives on the line to make sure that you got some Kellogg's cornflakes or some other bull job that you buy from the grocery store that's filled with high fructose corn syrup. Project Daddy, don't get on your soapbox now, but tell the truth and get some power. What are we fighting for? Are we fighting for authentic freedom? Are we fighting for the power in which we so rightfully deserve as the greatest American alive, you as the greatest American alive, who dedicates your life to this great nation, who dedicates your life to this country? And there is dignity in every job. And when I see wonderful, amazing people go to work every day and give their lives to these companies and don't ask for anything in return, it hurts my feelings. It breaks my heart. I'm like, dang, I wish that you knew what a union was. And when I start to think, I wish you knew what a union was, then I wonder, why haven't we created labor laws that specifically protect the American workers, that make sure that you have vacation, that make sure that you can have a quality of life that equals your representatives? They have vacation, but you ain't got vacation. Your representatives own property, but you don't own any property. How can you represent me if you don't know where I come from, or know what it's like to live in the projects or to live in perpetual poverty? Please help Project Daddy tell a better story. Please tell your story so that people know that you go to work every day and you can barely survive. I had a wonderful time working for this company. Sometimes I have great gigs, but my life should not be a Cinderella story with no stability and me just selling myself to the highest bidder. Hey, you're gonna give me $20? Hey, you're gonna give me $18? But it's only for one day and go away, and that's not enough pay for me to survive. It's not gonna happen. I can relate. Whatever it is that you're going through, I can relate. You wake up every day and you dedicate yourself to being great, and I want you to know that you are the greatest American alive, the most powerful citizen that the world has ever seen. Someone needs to tell you. Someone needs to remind you. Someone needs to salute you for your efforts and how you wake up and you grind every day, because you have to. And when I say that it's time to fight for freedom, I'm not really asking. I'm saying you have to. You have to embrace the power in which has been bestowed upon you by being a citizen of this great nation. It's no longer a choice to be great. You have to be the greatest American alive. The greatest American alive.
The greatest American alive.
The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive. The greatest American alive.
The greatest American alive.